Okay, so good evening to all of you. So let us start with this topic where we left yesterday. So what do you understand by the term called private placement? Try to understand this concept first. What do you mean by private placement? I think yesterday only I told you what is the major difference between private placement and public offer, everyone? What is the major difference between the two? In the public offer, in the public offer, when we make a public offer, do we make a offer to a limited group of people or do we make an offer to a public at large?
To public.
Yes, to the public at large. Are you getting the point? It is made to the public at large. But when we talk about the private placement, in the private placement, we do not make any offer to the public at large. In the private placement, what will happen? The board of directors of the company, the board of directors of the company will decide the set of people, will decide the selected group of people, will decide the selected group of people to whom they want to sell the shares, to whom they want to issue the shares. This is what the major difference between public issue as well as the private placement, right? So let us understand. I think yesterday I gave you the little bit of introduction about this topic. Let us quickly understand what this topic is all about. So Umyal, I want you to continue reading from the material. So can you please tell me? I
Yes,
want you
sir.
to continue reading from the material. Yeah, Gotham, today we are not having that particular setup. That's why it is you are unable to see that. Okay. So maybe in between, if any connection will be lost, I'll let you know to re-logging in again. Okay. Now, section 42, private placement, Amma. Please continue with the point number one. What is point number one?
An act of offer, issue of securities to a selected group of persons, otherwise than public offer, is known as private placement.
So everyone, what do you mean by private placement? It is an act of making the offer. See, in the prospectus also we are making the offer of securities only. In the prospectus also we are making the offer of securities only. Here also we are making the offer of securities only. But in the prospectus, when we are making an offer of the securities, we make an offer to whom? Public at large. But whereas in the private placement, when we make the offer to a selected group of persons, that is called what? Private placement. So this is known as the concept of private placement, an act of offer or issue of securities to a selected group of person, otherwise than public offer, is also known as private placement. Continue, Ma. What are the conditions to be satisfied for the private placement? Continue the condition number one.
Persons to whom
Securities.
security, security to be offered were PP to be selected by Board of Directors
Yes.
by following
Board
Board of
resolution.
Resolutions.
Yeah. Now listen to this point. Which persons to whom the security to be selected or securities to be offered under the private placement to be selected by whom? Board of directors. Now board of directors will decide to whom the offer is to be made and to whom the offer is not to be made. It is not you will decide whether you want to buy the shares or not. The company has already decided some selected group of people and they will decide whether they want to give you the shares or not. The persons to whom securities to be offered under the private placement to be selected by whom? Board of directors, and they have to pass the which resolution for that? Board resolution has to be passed. Is it clear, everyone? Point number A. Please write. Is it clear, everyone? Please let me know if all of you understood. Yes or no? Yes, continue, Ma. What is the point number B? You have to immediately unmute everyone if you get any doubt because I'm unable to see your chat today. So make sure that you are immediately unmuting yourself and asking me the doubt if you have any. So who will select the persons, Umel? Board of
Board,
directors will select the persons by passing a which resolution? Board
board
resolution.
resolution.
And to such, now these selected people, the what do we call to these selected people? We call them as identified persons. What is the another name we call them as?
Identified
Identified
persons.
persons. So we call them as identified person. Continue with the second condition, Amma.
Limit is maximum 200 except QIBs and EEs who got ESOPs by company.
Remember one thing, in the private placement, you cannot select more than 200 members. But most of the students confuse the concept of private placement with the private company. In the private company, the maximum number of members are 200. In the private placement, in the private company, the maximum number of members are 200. But I'm saying that private placement mein maximum number of people to whom you can sell the shares, to whom you can identify, to whom you can select is maximum 200. And remember one thing, in your list of 200, in your number of 200, the QIBs and the employees. What do you mean by QIBs, everyone? QIB stands for Qualified Institutional Buyers. So let me write the full form of QIB here. So what do you mean by QIB, everyone? QIB stands for Qualified Institutional Buyers. Sir, what do you mean by QIBs? QIBs are those people who are HNIs. What do you mean by HNIs? High net worth individual. They are very rich people. They're very rich category of the people who buy your securities. So if you are one of the QIB investor, if you are one of the QIB person, you will not be included in the list of 200. So in the list of 200, two people will not be included. Who are those two people who will not be covered in the list of 200? Point number one, QIBs. Point number two, those employees to whom the company has already offered what? ESOPs. So if you are an employee of the company to whom the ESOPs, employee stock option plans, are already allotted or already given by the company, you and ESOPs, that employee and QIBs, are not going to be covered in the list of what? 200. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no? So tell me, Amma, can there be 300 QIBs?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Can there be 1000 employees?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Does that affect our limit of 200 or does not affect?
Doesn't affect.
Doesn't affect, right? Next point, Amma. Continue the C point.
Above limit is for each security, that is equity share, preference shares, and debentures.
Remember, everyone, in the private placement, minimum 5 to 6 mark of portion is going to come. So the above limit is per for each security. Now listen to this point, everyone. Now, suppose company went for private placement of equity shares. Company went for the private placement of equity shares. So for the equity shares, 200. After 2 months, company went for private placement of preference shares. So it can go for 200. After that, company went for private placement of debentures. It can go for 200. So is it the total limit 200 or is it the 200 limit for each security?
For each
Yes, so limit is maximum 200 and the above limit is for what? Each security. It means 200 for the equity shares, 200 for the preference shares, and 200 for what? Debentures. Did you all understand what is the rule number 3, everyone? All of you understood? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So if you do not understand, please unmute there itself and immediately ask me the query. Okay. So point number 1 may be understood. Who will select the people to whom we want to issue the shares, Umel? We will select it by the board of directors by passing a which resolution? Board resolution. Second thing, what is the limit of the
200.
private placement? Maximum 200 people you can select, but in that 200 who are not covered, QIBs are not covered, and those employees to whom the company has already issued what? ESOPs are not going to be covered. And above limit is for the total overall limit for all the securities or each security?
Each
Each
securities.
security ka limit is 200. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no? And remember, this 200 limit is for per financial year. Means in 1 year, it is 200. Next year again, you can go for the 200. So it's not that lifetime it is 200. So per financial year, per security. This is how you have to understand. Per financial year, per security. Is it clear to all of you up to point number C? Very, very important concept, private placement. Okay. I want at least us to complete this private placement in today's session. Right? Now, continue the D point, Amma.
Till the time earlier private placement is not yet completed, withdrawn, new private placement can't be proceeded with.
Now, listen to this point very, very carefully, everyone. Say, for example, there is one ABC Limited company. This is ABC Limited company. Now, what this ABC Limited company did? Now, look at this. ABC लिमिटेड कंपनी में they went for private placement of equity shares on when on 1st May 2022, right? And immediately this private placement actually is not yet completed. It was still going on. Now on 17th May 2022, company went for another private placement of equity shares. Now tell me, is it allowed? The first private placement is not yet completed and company took a decision to go for another private placement immediately within 7 days. Is it allowed or not allowed? Answer is not allowed, everyone. First, you have to ensure that your first private placement is over. Then you have to see that your another private placement shall start. Either your first private placement should be completed or your first private placement should be withdrawn. Either it should be completed or it should be withdrawn. Then only the another private placement of the same security can be proceeded with. Did you all understand the concept which I said? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. But sometimes, examiner puts the tricky question in the examination. What kind of tricky question? Now listen to this point very, very carefully. Say for example, on 1st May 2022, you did the private placement of equity shares. You went for the private placement of which shares?
Equity
Equity shares.
shares.
And on 17th May 2022, you went for the private placement of debentures. Now tell me, are these two private placement belong to the same security?
No, sir.
They are belonging to the same security or different security?
Different
Different.
security.
Yes, they belong to the different security. That's the reason private placement here, this thing is allowed. Here, this thing is what? Allowed.
Allow.
Same private placement of the same security, if it is already going on, the second private placement is not allowed. Did you all understand the concept? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So let's continue with the D point again, Amma. Please read the D point again for all of us. Till the time the earlier private placement is not yet completed or withdrawn, new private placement cannot be proceeded with. Up to this D point, everyone is crystal clear? Any doubt or no doubt? No doubt? Okay. Now, E point, Amma. Please continue with the E point.
Multiple offers. Multiple offers can be made to same persons under different private placement.
Now, say for example, Umil, I made you the offer of private placement of equity shares. I made you the offer for the private placement of what? Equity
Equity.
shares. After that, I made you the offer for the private placement of debentures. After that, I made you the offer for the private placement of preference shares. Is it allowed?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Because am I making you the same security offer again or different securities offer?
Different securities.
That is what the point number E. What is the point number E? Multiple offers can be made to the same person under the different private placements. Everyone, point number A to E. I hope everyone understood. Please unmute yourself once and let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, perfectly understood, everyone. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. So immediately
Yes.
unmute yourself and ask me the doubt. Continue with the F point, Amma.
No advertisement, marketing,
Distribution channel,
channel agent is allowed.
complete
Complete prohibition.
prohibition. So remember one thing, when you're going for a private placement, is it a public issue or private offer? Is it a
Pri-
public issue or a private offer? It's a private offer. Are you getting the point? When it is a private offer, do you think that any advertisement is allowed? No. No advertisement allowed. No marketing allowed. No distribution channel allowed. And no agent allowed. You cannot hire any agent for selling your shares. You cannot hire any distribution channel to sell your shares. You cannot hire any marketing person. And you are not allowed to do any kind of advertisement because it's known as, what is the name of the topic? Private placement. So advertising, marketing, distribution, agency, these things are allowed a complete prohibition. It's a
Complete
complete
prohibition.
prohibition. Dare you do the same thing, you will be penalized. Next point. Continue on my G point.
Issue of securities to more than 200 persons shall amount to public offer. That is
Now,
section
yeah. So what is the limit, Amma? What is the limit under private placement?
200.
So if I'll make the offer to the 203 people, is it 200 or more than 200?
More than 200.
Then in that case, the SEBI will not consider it as a private placement. SEBI will automatically consider it a which offer? Public offer. And section number 23 to 41, which we have completed yesterday, all that sections of public offer will apply. So it means your private placement will be considered as public offer, and section number 23 to 41 formalities will be applicable on that. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Continue on my next point.
In case of NBFC and HFC, limit of 200 doesn't apply
Now,
as
what do
they
you,
follow
yeah,
RBI, NHB, private placement guidelines. Note,
continue with the note as well.
okay, sir. If RBI, NHB have no specified private placement guidelines, then Company Act private placement guidelines to be followed.
Now, listen to this point very carefully. I hope you all might have heard about the word called NBFC. What is NBFC, Amma? Non-bank financing companies. And what do you mean by HFC? HFC stands for Housing Finance Companies. Remember one thing, in India, NBFCs are regulated by RBI, Reserve Bank of India. And if you're a housing finance company, you are regulated by NHB, National Housing Board. So these are the two regulators. Like for the insurance companies, we have IRDA regulator. For the NBFC, we have RBI. And for the HFC companies, we have NHB. Now, if the RBI has its own private placement guidelines, if the NHB has its own private placement guidelines, so tell me, Amma, you are an NBFC, you have Companies Act private placement guidelines and RBI private placement guidelines. Which one you will follow?
RBI,
RBI. And if you are a housing finance company, you have Companies Act guidelines and you have the National Housing Board guidelines. Which one you will follow?
NHB.
NHB. But if the RBI does not have any specific private placement guidelines and NHB does not have any specific private placement guidelines, now you will follow which guidelines? Companies Act guidelines. Am I clear or not? When your own regulator does not have any special guidelines, then obviously you will follow the whose guidelines?
Companies.
Companies Act guidelines. Is it crystal clear to all of you? Yes or no? Did you all understand? So this limit of 200, what is the point written, Amma? G point. This limit of 200 is not H point. This limit of 200 is not applicable to NBFCs and HFCs if they follow RBI or NHB private placement guidelines. But if the RBI or NHB have no specified private placement guidelines, so what is your answer to all of you? Whose guidelines they will follow in that case? Then Companies Act private placement guidelines they will follow. Did you all understand? I hope each and every point is going smoothly inside your head, everyone. Yes or no? Did you all understand about the private placement? Yes? Okay. Very nice. Next point, Amma. Please continue the I point.
Money not to be utilized unless allotment is made and return of allotment is filed with ROC.
Do you remember yesterday also we did the allotment of public offer में same point like this? Are you allowed to touch the money or you have to keep the money in a separate bank account as per section number 40? You have to keep the amount in a separate bank account as per section number 40. You can only touch it if the allotment adjustment is there, and you can only touch it if the refund is happening. Is it clear, Umel? Yes or no? Yesterday I told you the same point.
Yes, sir.
In the private placement also same concept is there. You are not allowed to utilize this money. You are only allowed to utilize this private placement money when what is made? What is the condition number 1? Allotment is made and return of allotment is filed with whom? ROC. Do you all remember PAS3 yesterday I told you? This is the return of allotment. We always have to file with ROC within how many days? 30 days. But remember one thing, 30 days time period was applicable when it was a public offer. Now we are making a public offer, Ummel, or we are making a private placement offer? Private placement. So in this case, PS3 only will file with the ROC, but the time period will be 15 days instead of 30 days. So if you are making a public offer, it is how many days? 30 days. And it is a private placement offer. Now it is how many days? 15 days. Is it clear, everyone? So first of all, you have to make the allotment. Point number one. Second thing, return of allotment should be filed with ROC. Point number two. Then only the money can be utilized which you have raised from private placement. Did you all understand up to point number I? Please unmute yourself and let me know. Everyone. Please, everyone, unmute yourself and let me know. Did you all understand this point number I up to point number I? Everything clear? If anybody is having any doubt, please unmute and ask me. No problem. Assuming that no doubt is there, right? Okay. Now, continue with the J point, Amma.
Violation of Section 42, consequence amount involved in private placement or 2 crores.
Now,
Despite
yeah. Now, how many rules we have done, Omiyal? We have done rule number A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. So I can say that almost 9 rules we have understood so far. Am I correct? Now, in these 9 rules, if you are doing any kind of violation, suppose by mistake you have given advertisement. By mistake, your number of members are more than 200. Right or not? By mistake, the previous private placement of the same security was not over. You started with another private placement of the same security. Am I doing the compliances or am I doing the violations?
violations.
So in case of violation of all the provisions of section number 42, which we have learned so far, then what are the consequences of that? The consequences means you will be penalized with a penalty. तुम्हें लगेगा fine. The company will be imposed with a fine. How much fine, Umel? The fine is amount involved in the private placement. Amount involved in the private placement. So for example, I raised 1,000 crore rupees in the private placement. That is called amount raised in the private placement. It will be compared with what, Umyal?
2
2
crores.
crores, whichever is
Lesser.
lower. Yeah, whichever is less. So what will be my punishment if I have raised 500 crores or 2 crores, whichever is lower? 2 crores. Yeah, so 2 crore is the fine which the company will end up paying if we'll do any kind of violation of section number 42. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no? Is it clear? And remember, now tell me, Umyal, when ROC or when the authorities imposes the fine on you, what does that indicate? You have complied or you have done the violations?
Done the violations.
So tell me, Umyal, when you have already done the violations, are you eligible for private placement now, or you have to start refunding the total private placement money?
Refund.
Yes. So they are saying in the K point, remember one thing. So can I say that indirectly these are two punishments? First of all, so you are paying a fine. And second thing is, once the imposition of fine takes place, once the J point applies to you, once you have been fined under Companies Act, then in that case, refund all the monies to the subscribers within how many days? 30 days, and failure of which will draw the interest at the rate of 12% per annum to be paid. Remember, this is not the refund due to minimum subscription criteria. Do you remember, Umel, yesterday we have done one concept. If the minimum subscription criteria is not fulfilled, company cannot allot the securities. They have to start refunding the money within 15 days. Post 15 days, there is interest penalty of 15%. Do you remember yesterday we have done it?
Yes, sir.
Are we talking about that concept or this is completely a different concept? This is completely a different concept. Why we are refunding here, Umil? Because we were imposed with the fine and we have done the violation. There is no criteria problem here. There is no criteria problem here. It was imposition of fine for the violation of 42, That's why we are refunding the money within 30 days. And tell me, Umyal, what was the time period yesterday when we did it? It was 30 days or it was 15 days?
30 days.
Yesterday, which we have done.
Days.
Yesterday, it was 15 days. How much was the time period? It was 15 days. Now see, if the minimum subscription criteria is not fulfilled at the rate of 90% within 30 days from the date of prospectus, company shall refund the total money to the applicants with in their bank account within how many days, Umel?
15 days.
15 days. That was yesterday's topic. But why we were refunding the money here in section number 39 when the 90% criteria was not
Subscribe.
fulfilled? But here in the private placement, are we refunding because 90% criteria is not fulfilled, or is it because we have done the violation of 42?
Violation of section 42.
42 and the imposition of fine. Due to the imposition of fine, we are going to refund their money within how many days? 30
30
days. And what was the interest penalty there? 15%. But what is the interest penalty here?
5%.
It is 5%. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no? Everyone, please say, is it crystal clear to all of you? Yes, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this is what brings an end to the major conditions when it comes to the private placement. I hope all of you agree with that. So up to point number K, I am assuming that no one is having any doubt. Clear? Now, let us proceed with the L point. Let us proceed with the L point. Now, what is the procedure or what is the process of private placement, everyone? The next thing what we have to understand, what is the procedure and what is the process of private placement? How the private placement takes place. Now, I want to ask every one of you, who selects the identified group of people in the private placement? Who selects it? Board of directors. Now, when the board of directors select it, what the board of directors will do in that case, point number one, board shall send private placement offer and application offer in PAS4 form number. What is the form number, everyone? PAS4 to all the selected parties. Now, what the board is doing? Board is sending PAS4 number form to all the selected parties to whom the board have selected. Now, is this a public offer or is this a private placement shares?
Private placement.
So therefore, we are going to maintain a separate register for the private placement. So what is the name of that separate register? The name of that register is known as PAS5. So now there are three forms we have learned here, everyone. PAS3 is the return of allotment. Clear? PAS4 is the application form which we are sending to all the selected parties by whom? Board of Directors. And PAS5 is the register of private placement of shares in which every record of private placement is going to be recorded by the Board of Directors. So they may ask you in the MCQs what is PAS3, what is PAS4 and what is PAS5. Is it crystal clear to all? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So point number one, board shall send the private placement offer or application offer in PAS4 to the selected parties. And point number two, they shall maintain every record of private placement in the register of PAS5. Now continue with the third point, Amma. What is the third point written?
No person other than addressed by board shall make any application for securities.
Remember one thing, who selected these people? Board of Directors. So Board of Directors have selected 200 people. So we are sending the PAS4 to all these 200 people, right or not? Now tell me, anybody else other than these 200 people can apply to the Board of Shares? Board of Directors, we want these shares. Anybody else can apply for the private placement or no one can apply? Because did we do any kind of advertisement? No. Did we do any kind of marketing? No.
sir.
Whether anybody knows that I am going for a private placement? No one knows. So it means no person other than the addressed by the board shall make any application for what? Securities. I hope all of you will agree with me in the point number 1, 2, 3, everyone. Say yes if you all agree. Yes, perfectly understood. So point number one, point number two, point number three. So what is point number one? Says that board will send the application letter to all the selected parties. Board shall make every record of private placement in a separate register called PS5, and no person other than those which are addressed by the board shall make any application for securities. Clear everyone up to the point number three? Continue, Amma. What is the point number four?
No right of renunciation allowed.
Acha, can anybody tell me what do you mean by right of renunciation? And if anybody can tell me the difference between revocation and renunciation. See, both the words are same only. Let me tell you, what do you mean by renunciation? What do you mean by revocation? Now, when the company tells you that we will not issue the shares to you, when the company rejects your application, then it is known as revocation. But when you cancel your application on your own, that is called renunciation. That is called what, everyone? Renunciation. Remember one thing, in both the points you are cancelling only. So when the company cancels it, it is called revocation. But when you cancel it, it is known as renunciation. So what is the word we have seen below, everyone? What is the point number four, Amma? Read it again.
No right of renunciation allowed.
So once I have selected you and once you have given me the confirmation, Umel, you are one of those 200 people whom I have selected and you have given me the confirmation. Are you allowed to renunciate your shares?
No, sir.
You can say no later on or you can't say no.
Can't say no.
Can't say no. So you don't have the rights of what? Renunciation at the later stage. I hope each and every point which we are doing is a separate question in itself. Are you all learning what do you mean by private placement, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, so first of all, we understood what is a procedure. Board will send PES4. We will maintain a separate register PES5. No person other than addressed by the board can make application for securities and no right of renunciation allowed. Remember, no right of renunciation is allowed. Next one is what? Point number five. What is the point number five, Amma? Please read it carefully.
Notice explanatory statement for special resolution in general meeting shall attach to following
Now
documents.
stop here. Stop here. Now listen to this, everyone, very, very carefully. We are not going for the public offer. We are going for a private placement. And whenever you go for private placement offer, the very important point you have to understand that company has to pass a which resolution?
Board resolution.
Special resolution is required to be passed by the company. Which resolution is required? Special resolution is required by the company. But my question is, what do you mean by special resolution, Amma? How many yeses we need?
75.
75% yeses we need. So tell me, Arnachalam, when the 75% yeses we need, don't you think that those shareholder who are going to pass the 75% yes, they deserve to know that why company is going for private placement?
Yes, sir.
When you understand why company is going for a private placement, then only they people will come in the EGM and they will pass the special resolution. Am I correct, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
So tell
sir.
me, Amma, to call the EGM, do we have to send them the notice first or not? Ki on this date and this time EGM is there. Please come and pass the special resolution.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes. So we have to send them the notice. Now, when we are sending them the notice, listen to next point very, very carefully. When we are sending them the notice, we have to attach one explanatory statement with the notice. What is the name of the statement?
Explanatory statement.
Explanatory statement. Do we have to explain them why they are coming for passing the resolution? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now that explanatory statement, now read the point, Amma. Notice or explanatory statement for special resolution in the general meeting shall attach the following documents. Now we are telling them the information why they are coming to the meeting. What is the first thing we are going to tell them? How many shares in the private placement are going to be taken up by the promoters and directors. How many shares promoters are going to take and how many shares directors are going to take? That is called promoter and director contribution. Is the point number one clear, everyone? Yes. Second thing, we are going to tell them that this is the date when we passed which resolution, Amma?
Board
Because
resolution.
we always have to pass who selects the people? Board of
Board of
directors. The board of directors first have to pass the which resolution? Board
board
resolution. So we are
resolution.
telling to the shareholders that we have already passed the board resolution on this particular day. So first of all, how much contribution promoters and directors are making in the private placement, and this is the date of passing the board resolution. What is the next thing? Next thing we are telling them
Class of
class of
security.
securities and the rate at which we are offering the shares. So which class of securities we are giving? Are we giving equity shares, preference shares, or debentures? And at what rate we are going to offer them the price? Am I correct? Next information we are giving ki why it is offered at premium. If we are issuing the shares at premium, tell me, Amma, what is the par value of the share? 10 rupees. I am offering at 50 rupees. How much premium I am collecting?
40.
So tell me, everyone, do I have to tell them ki why we are collecting the premium and is it justified or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have to tell to the shareholders. What is the next thing? Report of valuer for the valuation. Now, how did we decide that we are going to issue the private placement share at 50 rupees? Who will decide that? Board of directors will not decide. Who will decide that? We will hire a respected valuer, and on the basis of valuation report only, we will decide that this private placement is valued at 1000 crore rupees, per share is rupees 50. So who will decide, everyone? A registered valuer will decide, and his report also will attach with the explanatory statement. Next one, how much amount to be raised? That also is going to be given in that private placement ka explanatory statement. Proposed time schedule, how much time we will take to complete this private placement. Next one, proposed object of the offer, where we are going to utilize this money which will raise from the private placement. And next point, asset under the charge. If acha, tell me one thing, can we do the private placement for debentures also?
Yes, sir.
So if I will do the private placement for the debentures also, Amma, please tell me, debenture holders are lenders or owners of the company?
Lenders.
Lenders. So do we have to give them the security as a lender?
Yes, sir.
So which assets we are going to give them under the charge? That information we have to give. The almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things we are attaching with the what? With the notice which we are sending to the shareholders so that they can come to the meeting and pass a special resolution. Did you all understand the meaning of this notice? Yes or no? Yes. So
Okay.
now, Umel, please read out all the 9 points what we are going to tell to the shareholders. Point number one.
Promoter and director contribution. Date of passing board resolution. Class of securities and rate. Why it is offered at premium. Report report of valuer for valuation. Amount to be raised.
Proposed time schedule. Next one. Purpose or object of what? Offer.
Object of
And what is the last one? Assets under
charge.
charge. Is it clear to all of you? Now, once this notice will go in the hands of shareholders, now tell me, will they come to the general meeting where they have to pass a special resolution or not? Tell me, will they come to the general meeting where they have to pass the special resolution? Now, are they aware that for what purpose they are coming to the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So tell me, what is the next sixth point? Am I read it?
In the extraordinary general meeting, special resolutions by shareholders shall be passed to approve private
So
placement.
now first we sent a notice, and now finally the biggest step, the special resolution has been passed. It means we got our shareholders permission, and now yes, we can go for what? Private placement of shares. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no? finally we got the shareholders permission and now we can go for a private placement of shares. Amma, what is happening in the 7th point? Read.
Application to securities
Hmm.
only via banking channels, cash not allowed.
Okay, Ummel, when I sent you the PS4, are you going to send me the money or not?
Yes, sir.
I sent you the PS4 because you were the one of the selected party. Are you going to send me the money?
Yes, sir.
How you are going to send me the money? Via cash or via banking channel?
Banking channels.
Yes, so application to the securities only via which channels? Banking channel. Cash is accepted or not acceptable?
Not allowed.
Not allowed. I hope each and every rule is going inside your head, everyone. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Each and every rule is going. Is it clear, Arnachalam? Yes. So I hope all of you are able to understand it. Okay. Now, Amma, what is the point number 8? Read the point number 8.
Details of bank account of subscriber to be noted by company in case of
Joint shareholding.
joint shareholders, first name, appearing bank account details.
Now, listen to this point very carefully. Acha, tell me, Ummel, is there a possibility that 90% criteria may not get fulfilled in private placement? Is it a possibility? Yes or no? Yes,
No,
there is a possibility. There is a possibility that 90% criteria may or may not get fulfilled. Suppose the selected persons are not agreeing to buy the shares. Then in that case, do we have to fulfill the 90% criteria or not? Yes.
no,
Now, how the other people are making the application? All the people are making the application via which channel, Amma? Banking channel. Now tell me one thing, if the 90% criteria will not be fulfilled, do we have to refund their money?
yes, sir.
So are we going to refund the money to the different bank account or to the same bank account from where we have received it?
Same bank account.
Yes, same bank account from where we have received it. Is it crystal clear to all of you? Yes. So that's why, what is the point number 8 now? Read it, Amma. What is the point number 8?
Details of bank account of
De-
subscriber to be noted by company in case of joint shareholders, first name, appearing bank account details.
Yes. So all the details of bank account holders of the subscribers we have to note down by the company. In case 90% criteria will not be fulfilled, we have to refund their money back. But what is this point written in case of joint shareholding wala point? They are saying that, acha, what do you mean by joint shareholding? Say for example, you and I are friend. Ummil and Rohit sir are friend. तो ज्वाइंट शेयर होल्डिंग की एप्लीकेशन में व्हाट वाज द एप्लीकेशन उम्मेल एंड रोहित ग्रोवर तो वी मेड जॉइंटली एप्लीकेशन फॉर द शेयर्स और नॉट बट उम्मेल whose name was appearing first, your name was appearing first in the application. It was written that Ummel and Rohit Grover, we two are the joint shareholders. So Ummel, your name is appearing first in the application.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so in that case your bank account details are required. Clear, everyone? So
Yes, sir.
at the time of application, whosoever name is first coming in the joint share application, their bank account details are required. Is it crystal clear to all? Yes or no? So I
Yes,
hope
sir.
point number 8 also went inside your head. Now, tell me one thing, like in the public offer, do we have to keep the private placement money in company's bank account or in a separate bank account?
Separate bank account.
Now read this point number 9.
Separate bank account to be utilized for allotment, to be utilized for refund.
So either I'm going to use this money for the allotment if the 90% criteria is fulfilled, or if 90% criteria is not fulfilled, I'll utilize this money for which purpose? Refund purpose. Is it looking like a public offer here now? Same points? Yes. But this is very, very important 10 and 11 points. After this, our private placement of securities topic will be over. I hope you all are able to understand so far now. It's been 45 minutes that we are only and only talking about one topic only, that is called what? Private placement. So there are so many questions which can be drafted from this topic called what? Private placement. So it's a highly, highly important topic. Clear? Now, Umel, be slow and read what is the point written. 10th point.
Within 60 days of receipt of application money, shares must be allotted, else refund within 15 days, on failure of which interest at 12% per annum from expiry of 16th
60th
day.
day. Now, listen to this very carefully. Let me make a comparison between the public offer now and private placement now. Now, let me tell you what is the difference between the both. In the public offer, we do not allot the shares if 90% criteria is not fulfilled. Am I correct, Amma?
Yes, sir.
Within 30 days of date of prospectus. Am I correct, Amma?
Yes, sir.
And within how many days we have to start refunding their money?
15.
Within 15 days. Failure of which, how much is the interest, Amma?
15%.
Per annum. Is it clear? Now look at that, how it is happening in the private placement now. In the private placement, if we do not allot shares within 60 days, within how many days? 60 days from receiving which money?
Allotment and refund money.
Application money, not allotment. That is what the difference I'm trying to tell. If we do not allot the shares within 60 days from receiving the which money? Application money. It means your application allotment money, total money must be received within how many days?
60.
No, 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 no. Money is already received. You must allot the shares within how many days? 60
30.
days. So if you do not allot the shares within 60 days from the receipt of application money. So say for example on 1st May 2022 the application money is received. So it means in the next 60 days allotment is required or not required?
Required.
So within 60 days allotment of securities must be done. But if we are failing to do that in 60 days, then now we have to start refunding their application, start refunding their money within how many days here also, ma?
Sir,
Within 15 days. And what is the interest penalty after 15 days here?
12%.
12% per annum. So did you understand the difference between the both? So in the public offer, what was the reason we were refunding? The reason was we were unable to meet the 90% criteria within 30 days of the date of prospectus. Here, what is the reason we are refunding the money? Is it the 90 days criteria or is it the non-allotment of the shares within 60 days from the receipt of application money?
Non-allotment of shares.
In both
Within
the case, we are refunding within how many days?
30 days.
15 days. Right or not? And in both the case, interest penalty, how much? Here 15%, here what? 12%. I hope all of you understood the difference between the both. Private. Now read the 10th point again, Amma. Now you will get a 200% clarification. And everyone, again, I'm requesting, if you are unable to understand any point, you have to just unmute yourself and ask me the query again. There is no problem if you have a doubt. Don't think that you are a god and you will be able to understand everything. Sometimes some things takes time to go and get fitted inside your head. So don't be ashamed that if I will ask a doubt, the other people will think this and that. You are paying your money, you have every right to ask any kind of doubt. Again, repeating. Okay. So continue my point number 10 again and read it little bit slowly now.
Within 60 days of receipt of application money, shares must be allotted, else refund within 15 days, on failures of which interest at 12% per annum from expiry of 63.
Acha. Now the second difference, Amma. When we were paying the 15% interest here, this 15% per annum interest will start from the expiry of 15th day. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
It means from 16th day onwards, we have to start paying the interest penalty at the rate of
15%.
15%. Now here in the private placement, it is different. Here first, how many days we are taking to allot the shares?
60.
How many days we are taking to refund the money?
15.
So it means ideally it should start from the 75th day. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
But here it is starting from the expiry of what?
15th.
60th day. It is starting from the expiry of what? 60th day. They are saying that this 15 days refund time which we are giving, during that time also we need interest to be paid. Did you understand the difference?
Yes, sir.
In the previous case, interest was getting paid when? In the previous case, interest was getting paid when the 15 days are over. After that, interest is being paid. But here, 15 days interest is also covered. Are you getting the point? It means
Yes,
here,
sir.
here we are paying the interest from the 60th day onwards. It means these 15 days interest plus number of days you will delay, that interest you have to pay. Did you all understand the difference between both of them? Yes or no? Yes. Now read this. What is written? Interest at the rate of 12% per annum to be paid. But what is written, Amma? What is written here? From the expiry of which date?
60.
It means these 15 days interest also we have to pay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I hope all of you understood, everyone. And last but not the least, this point I already told you, 11th point. PS3 is our return of allotment. Am I correct, Amma?
Yes, sir.
This we have to file with whom? ROC. But how many days instead of 30 days? What is the difference again?
15
15
days.
days. This is called return of allotment. Right? And what do we file along with the return of allotment? List of whom? Allottees. Those 200 people to whom we have allotted the shares, that list we have to file. And next one, only after this money raised can be what?
Utilized.
Utilized. And finally, if you do not file this return of allotment within 15 days, what is the penalty, Amma?
1,000 per day.
Subject to maximum 25
lakhs.
lakhs. I hope all of you will agree with me that this topic is on one side and the total public offer is on one side. Do you all agree with that? This topic is very big topic and it is completely different from the public offer. And public offer mein there are so many sections which you have to learn, like 23, 26, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, all the sections. But here this 42 section, one section is completely equivalent to public offers ka all the sections. Do you all agree with that? Yes. So now I'm going to ask you some questions, everyone. Please give me the reply. Now, will you all be able to reply me the answer, everyone? Should I ask you some? So now let us start with our next topic, everyone. What is the next topic we have to start? The next topic which we have to start is known as shares and share capital chapter. Now, in this chapter, we are going to understand so many provisions. What are the provisions we'll understand? We'll understand everything about the equity share capital, preference share capital, bonus shares, right shares, forfeitures, surrender, um, issue of shares at premium, issue of shares at discount, all those topics we are going to understand. So let us just start from the beginning. Let us just start from the, you know, a very simple topic. The first thing which you have to understand is known as ki, what do you mean by the term called share? Now, if I'm not wrong, can I write like this? Share, a share is a share in share capital. Is it correct to like write like this? What is share? A share is a share in the which capital, everyone? Share capital, right or not? A share is a share in the share capital and includes stock. Includes what? Stock. Now, there are so many concepts. I don't know whether you know or not. There are so many concepts in the company law in which you will understand that there are so many concepts in the company law in which you will understand that ki such concepts were never told to you. Now listen to this point. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between the share and stock? Now let me tell you one thing. What used to happen earlier? Suppose there is one Mr. A who is having 20,000 physical shares of one company. Now, what do you mean by physical shares? You know that physical share means share certificate will be there where your details will be written and everything. But nowadays, physical shares are happening, everyone? Or nowadays, demat shares are happening?
Demat shares.
Demat shares are happening. Physical shares are not happening nowadays. So, only and only demat shares are happening. Is it clear, everyone? Now, what happened? His house caught one fire. So, when his house caught one fire, so obviously the paper catches the fire and it was very difficult for him to handle these physical shares. So he went to the company. He said that, sir, I'm unable to handle these many shares. Please convert my these many physical shares into one share certificate, and that one share certificate is known as which share certificate, everyone? Stock certificate. It is known as which one, Amma? Stock certificate. Now, what do you mean by stock certificate? So, say for example, I had 20,000 shares of rupees 1,000 each. So, what is my total contribution in the capital, everyone? 2 crores. Am I correct? So, these 20,000 share certificates, 20,000 paper share certificates have been changed to what? One stock certificate. Now, what will be written in the stock certificate? Ki Mr. A is the owner of rupees 2 crores worth of share capital. Now, my question is very simple, everyone. What is the difference you found in the physical share certificate and stock certificate? Let me tell you the major difference first. It is known as a unit of share capital. What is share, everyone? Share refers to a unit of which capital, Amma? Share capital. So can I say that consolidation of number of shares, into one unit is known as what, Amma?
Stock.
Stock. So when I consolidated my number of shares into one unit, that is known as what? Stock. Whether the share is the one single unit of the share capital. That is the first major difference between the share and stock. What is the next major difference? Now tell me whether the share carries the par value or does not carry the par value. Yes, share carries a par value, but when you convert your shares into the stock, it does not carry any par value. Now my question is, Amma, can you read this share certificate? What is written?
A is the owner of 2 crore worth shares.
Now tell me one thing. Anywhere it is written 2 crore shares of 10 rupees each or 20 lakh shares of 1 rupees each, something like that is written or not written? So when
No,
you
sir.
convert your shares into stock, what do you lose? You lose the par value of the shares. Did you understand the difference number 2 in the two?
Yes, sir.
Third difference is share can be issued by any company. Share can be issued by which company? Any company. Whereas the stocks can only be issued by public companies. Who can issue the stock, everyone? Public companies can only issue the stock. Third thing, shares can be partly paid up or shares also can be what? Fully paid up. So shares can be partly paid up as well as the shares can also be what? Fully paid up. Whereas what do you mean by stock, everyone? What do you mean by stock, everyone? Stock is always fully paid up. Till the time I do not tell you to unmute yourself, please don't unmute. It creates a noise in the class. Okay. So shares are partly paid up or fully paid up, but the stocks are always which paid up, Amma? Fully paid up. It means partly paid up shares can be converted into stock or only fully paid up shares can be converted into stock.
Fully paid up only.
Only fully paid up shares can be converted into stock. Partly paid up shares cannot be converted into stock. Is it clear to all of you? So these are the major differences between the share and stock. What is the next difference, everyone? To issue the shares, we don't need AOA permission. Article of association permission is not required if we want to issue the shares. But if you want to issue the stock, article of association का authorization is required. And my very important question to you, can you please tell me, Amma? Can you please tell me, Amma, कि shares can be sold in fractions? Now, Umel, you have one share of MRF. I will tell you the practical thing. Can anybody tell me, have you heard of MRF company?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So MRF is a tire manufacturing company. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So MRF company ka one share is almost 80,000 rupees per share. What is the market price, Amma?
80,000.
80,000 rupees per share for one share. Now, Amma, you are in need of 50,000 rupees right now urgently. Can you sell fraction of your share? Or you have to sell the complete share?
Complete share.
But in the stock, I can sell fractions. Now tell me, on my stock, par value was there or only the amount was written? So
Par value is not
suppose
there.
I have one stock of 80,000 of MRF. I can sell this stock and I can get the another stock certificate of 30,000 and 50,000 rupees company will pay me in cash. So tell me one thing, what can be sold in fractions? What cannot be sold in fractions?
Stock can be sold in fractions.
Yes, all of you, did you all understand this point? Stock can be sold in fractions. What cannot be sold in fractions? Shares. So shares cannot be sold in fractions. What can be sold in fractions? Stock can be sold in fractions. Now question is, sir, why we are discussing these 6 differences between the shares and stocks? Because the definition of the shares includes what, Amma? Read the definition. A share is a share in the which capital? Share capital, and includes what? Stock. So it means it is very important for you to understand first what is the major difference between the shares and stock. Is it crystal clear to all? Yes or no? Everyone understood what is the major difference between the shares and stock? Yes. Now, what is the next thing you have to understand, Amma? The next thing what you have to understand is, sir, when we talk about the shares and when we talk about the stock, then can we also have some question or can we also have some discussion on the share certificate? Can anybody tell me what do you mean by share certificate? A share certificate is what is share certificate? A share certificate is a certificate issued where the holder of it is treated as a owner of the company. Can I say that? A share certificate is a certificate is issued where the holder of this certificate is treated as what of the company, everyone? Owner of the company. So share certificate holder is known as what? Owner of the company. Yeah, sure, Vikram, no problem. Okay. Now, next point, everyone. What do you mean by share certificate? It is a certificate issued where the holder of it is treated as a owner of the company. Next point. What is the next point? Listen to this point very, very carefully. It is always issued under common seal of the company. Do you all remember I made you see the common seal?
Yes, sir.
It is always issued under the common seal of the company. But let me ask you a very simple point. What if the common seal is not there? If common seal is not there, can you please tell me who will issue it? If the common seal is not there with the company, then it will be signed by how many directors? 2 directors. It will be signed by 2 directors. And if 2 directors are not there, then it will be signed by 1 director plus 1 company secretary. Did you all understand the concept? Yes or no? So generally, it is issued under what? generally issued under what? Common seal. But if the common seal is not there, then it should be issued by the signature of how many directors? Two directors. And if the two directors are not there, then how many people will issue it? One director or one company secretary. One director and one company secretary will issue it. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no? Yes. Now the question arises, sir, we understood the meaning of share certificate. We understood how the share certificate is being issued. Now, listen to this very carefully. The next thing what you have to understand is about the duplicate share certificates. What is the next concept you have to understand? Duplicate share certificate. Acha, tell me one thing. Share certificate comes in the form of paper or not? Yes, everyone. Share certificate comes in the form of paper. Now, when the share certificate comes in the form of paper, can I say that there are these possibilities? The share certificate can be mutilated. What do you mean by mutilated? It can be torn. Can I say that it can be defaced? Can I say that ink may be faded away? Because if you will keep the paper for a longer period of time, have you seen that sometimes the ink on the paper will be faded away, everyone? Yes. So share certificate can be mutilated, or it can be torn, or it can be defaced, or it can be de-inked. Now, do you all know, go to the ATM? Have you taken the slip from the ATM, everyone? Yes or no? So when we take the slip from the ATM, Amma, please tell me whether after few days the things which were written on the slip may get faded away or not.
Yes, sir.
So that is the same thing may happen with a which certificate?
Duplicate share certificate.
No, that same may happen with the share certificate. Are you getting the point? Now listen to the concept. So share certificate can be mutilated, torn, defaced, or de-inked. Or there may also be a situation it can be lost or destroyed. Can I say that share certificates can be destroyed in fire?
Yes, sir.
Can I say that share certificate can be lost also? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So in this case, what you will do, Amma, in this case, you will apply for which share certificates?
Duplicate share certificate.
Duplicate share certificate. So remember, in case your share certificates are mutilated, torn, or defaced or de-inked, you have to pay rupees 50 per share to board of directors. How much money you have to, first of all, to whom you have to apply? Board of directors. How much money you have to pay? 50 rupees per share certificate you have to pay. So how many share certificates you want? Into 50 rupees per share certificate you have to pay to the board of directors, and within few period of time they will issue you the duplicate share certificate. But tell me one thing, in case your share certificates are lost or destroyed, Amma, please tell me, do you have something to surrender or nothing to surrender? Acha, tell me what is the difference between left side and right side? In the left side, you will surrender old share certificates. Am I correct? And you will pay 50 rupees per new share certificate to the board of director. But on the right side, do you have something to surrender, or it is already lost or destroyed?
It is already destroyed.
Destroyed. Then in this case, what will happen? In this case also, you will pay rupees 50 per share certificate to board of directors, plus company will ask you one bond that is called indemnity bond. Can anybody tell me what do you mean by indemnity bond? My question is very simple. Indemnity bond means what? Here the shareholder is giving a guarantee to the company. He is sworning to the company that if due to my lost share certificate, if the company will suffer any kind of loss, damage in the future, then who will compensate whom? Shareholder will compensate the company. Now tell me, is the shareholder surrendering any old share certificate, or he has nothing to surrender? Tell me everyone, does he have anything to surrender or nothing to surrender?
Nothing.
So tell me whether the company is believing him or not.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the
Yes.
company, do you think that the company will believe just like that? No. Company is saying, okay, I believe that ki you had a share certificate and you lost the share certificate. Please give us a indemnity bond. In future, if any loss or expenditure or any kind of damage the company will suffer due to your lost share certificates, then in that case, you are going to pay us the compensation. Who is asking this indemnity bond from whom?
Share.
Company is asking this indemnity bond from whom? Shareholder. Because is the shareholder surrendering anything or not surrendering anything?
Not
So did you
surrendering.
get the point? So where the indemnity bond is required, left side or right side?
Right side.
Yes, it is not required in case of what? Left side case. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no? क्योंकि on the in the left side there is no problem na. You are surrendering the old share certificates and you're getting the new share certificate. But in the right side, are you able to surrender anything or unable to surrender anything?
It is
So
surrender.
that's the reason, right? Now question is, sir, what is the time period to issue the duplicate share certificate? If you are a listed company, then within 45 days, the duplicate share certificates must be issued. Within how many days? 45
40.
days. But if you are an unlisted company, then in that case, company may take 3 months, maximum 3 months to issue you what? Duplicate share certificates. So in the case of listed company, what is the time period, Amma?
45
45
days.
days to issue the duplicate share certificates. And in case it is an unlisted company, then 3
Up
months.
to 2
Up
months.
to 3 months. Now the question is, what if company or officer in default do a fraud in issuing duplicate share certificates? Now tell me, sometimes the company or sometimes the officers in default may do the fraud in issuing the duplicate share certificate or not.
Yes, sir.
If it is proved that, now listen to this point very, very carefully, everyone. If it is proved that ki officers in default are doing a fraud in issuing the duplicate share certificates, do you know what is going to happen? Now, listen to this point. 5 times to 10 times of face value of duplicate share certificate issued, it will be compared with rupees 10 crores, whichever is higher. What is the penalty on issuing the duplicate share certificates, everyone? Suppose I have issued 1 crore face value. So, say for example, okay, I have issued 2 crore, 20 crores face value of securities, duplicate share certificates in a fraudulent manner. So, Amma, please tell me what is the punishment? 5 times to 10
5
times.
times
What
to
is the
10
5
times
times?
of face value
What
of
is the 5 times
shares.
of 20 crores? 100 crores? 100 crores to 10 times means, Amma, how much? 200 crores. 100 crores to 200 crores, it will be compared with what? 10 crores. And what is the punishment, Amma? Whichever is
Higher.
higher. So, what is the minimum punishment everyone will suffer? 10 crores. Plus OID, officers in default who have done the fraud, they'll be penalized under section.
447.
And you all know that whenever the fraud comes, which section comes to our mind?
Yes.
447. So this is the penalty on the company and this is the penalty on the officers in default. Is it clear to all of you? So Companies Act is very serious when it comes to the duplicate share certificates. You dare to issue the duplicate share certificates in the fraudulent manner, the 5 times to 10 times of the face value of the securities will be the punishment. It will be compared with 10 crores, whichever is higher, plus officers in default will be penalized under section number 447. This is what you all should know about what? About share certificate. Is it clear to all of you? If these questions will come in the examination, will you be able to handle? So this is what you mean by share certificate. Now, Urmal, you have asked a doubt, right? Sir, if the stock certificate is not says about the number of shares, how does the company will come to know that the person holding number of shares? That's the reason. Company now no longer see. We have already surrendered our share certificates to the company. Am I correct, Umail? We already surrendered our share certificates to the company or not? On the share certificates, number of shares are already mentioned. Tell me. Now, Umail, please tell me if I'm surrendering 20 share certificates and each certificate per return it is 1000 shares. How many shares I'm surrendering? On one certificate it is written I'm holding 1000
20
shares.
shares.
Per share certificate it is 1000 shares. I'm surrendering 20 share certificates. It means I'm holding how many shares? Is it 20,000?
20,000.
Yeah. So 20,000 shares into what is the market value? What is the par value? 100 rupees. So 20,000 shares into 100 rupees multiplied by what? 20 lakhs. So they will give me one stock certificate. Okay, Rohit Grover is the holder of 20 lakhs worth of face value of the capital in the company. Is it clear, Umer?
Sir, but the rate of the shares will increase sometime.
No. Remember one thing, share certificate never includes the market price. That is market price which includes and reduces. Par value always remains what? Same. On the share certificate, market price never comes. क्योंकि market price तो keeps on changing ना. Market price sometimes may go 2000, sometimes may go 2 rupees. The market price is never written on the share certificate. On the share certificate, what always comes? Paid up value and the face value. Did you understand, Umel?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So it will give you the stock certificate. On the stock certificate also it will be written कि Umel is the owner of 20 lakhs worth of face value of the securities. That 20 lakhs worth of face value of the securities, what is the market value of that securities? That we have to see in the stock market. कि how much is the price going on per share? Is it correct? Correct, Umel? Yes. So this is how the shares will be converted into stock. I hope all of you understood the today's session, everyone. Yes, everyone. Chalo, let us wind up today's session and I'll continue with you in the tomorrow. And tomorrow maybe half an hour extra I'll be taking. So maybe tomorrow we'll be starting at 5:30, everyone. Is it fine with you all if I'll start at 5:30?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'll start at 5:30 and we'll see if extra time we can devote or not. So thank you so much everyone for watching and listening to the class. I'll see you guys in the next video. Right? Bye everyone. Take care.
Right.
Bye everyone. Thank you.